You awakened the world's most useless F-level ability, a 1 cubic meter storage space. The whole school mocked you as a portable little box only good for moving bricks, but they don't understand the true terror of space rules. If you cover half of the space over your head and the other half in the air, then forcibly close it instantly. That's right, it becomes an absolute kill that ignores any defense. What if you split 1 cubic meter of space into 10 spaces of 10 cubic centimeters each? The cold, mechanical voice echoed in the awakening hall of Jiangcheng First High School, and thousands of eyes fell on you at the same time. Wearing a faded old-school uniform, you stepped up to the high platform from the corner and placed your hand on the awakening stone. In this world where exotic beasts run rampant and class divisions are strict, what ability one awakens almost determines the position they can reach in the future, and even whether they and their family can escape the fate of being trapped at the bottom. So, at this moment, everyone was watching, but when the awakening stone lit up, the glow was pathetically weak, with a thin layer of greyish-white halo barely covering the surface, like a flickering candle in the wind. There was a moment of silence from the audience, followed by bursts of laughter.
This is called awakening? Gray-white light? What a useless ability, I've never even heard of it. It probably doesn't even count as a different level.
The recording mentor looked at the final words frozen on the screen, shook his head in disappointment, and directly announced, Linon has awakened an ability, level 1 storage space. Additional note, the space volume is 1 cubic meter. As soon as this sentence was finished, the entire hall burst into laughter.
A storage space of 1 cubic meter, isn't that just a small portable box? With this kind of ability, even the logistics people would find it too small for transporting goods.
Coming from the slums, even your ability reeks of poverty. Harsh ridicule comes from all directions, but you just quietly withdraw your hand, looking at the cold words, with no anger or resentment on your face, only a dead silence. You know very well that without power, emotions are never worth anything. Just then, a blinding golden light suddenly bursts from backstage, instantly capturing everyone's attention.
Young Master Zhaozi is definitely S-level. It's the Crimson Lotus Flame. The Zhao family's bloodline is truly terrifying.
Amidst the exclamations, Zhaozi, the direct heir of the Zhao family, walked onto the stage, surrounded by pale golden flames. He wore a luxurious school uniform, his expression openly superior. Unlike you, he was born at the finish line for most people, and now he has awakened one of the top-tier offensive abilities. From now on, resources, status, and prospects will naturally favor him. But he did not first go to enjoy the cheers. Instead, he walked straight to you, looking down at you with a cruel sneer at the corner of his mouth.
Linan, I wondered who it was. Turns out it's you, the rat hiding in the sewers.
He raised his finger, burning with flames, and pointed at your chest from a distance, mocking word by word.
Level 1 storage space, 1 cubic meter, is just right. When your poor sister is gone, it can be used to store her belongings.
When your sister was mentioned, the dead calm in your eyes finally stirred. A trace of cold-killing intent flashed by. Zhao keenly caught this change and laughed even more wildly.
What? Not convinced? A guy like you is wasting Jiangcheng's air just by standing here and breathing.
After speaking, he directly turned to look at Mentor Wang. His tone was not one of negotiation, but of command.
Isn't there still a spot for a poor student to be recommended to the War Academy? I remember it was originally meant for him.
Instructor Wang's face turned pale, and he said in a low voice, Geez, based on the results and comprehensive evaluation, this spot was originally meant for Linon. Zhaozi's tone was calm, yet it carried a sense of life and death authority.
I don't want to see this kind of mediocrity. Who isn't even fit to be a logistics soldier, taking up resources in my school?
Instructor Wang still wanted to struggle.
This isn't according to the rules.
Zhao sneered, and the flames suddenly surged.
In Jiangcheng, what my Zhao family says is the rule.
The hall fell silent instantly. No one spoke up for you. Everyone just looked at you with eyes full of sympathy, schadenfreude, and anticipation of your breakdown. But you didn't break. You just lifted your eyes to look at Zhao Ze with a calm gaze that was terrifying, as if looking at someone with no future. Zhao Ze hated that look of yours the most, and his smile gradually faded as he said gloomily, Very well, I don't like that look in your eyes. Get lost. Mentor Wang sighed and handed over a form.
Sign it. This is the withdrawal application. Awakening this kind of ability, staying in school is meaningless. Accept your fate, go to the factory in the east of the city and find a job screwing bolts. At least you can make a living.
You took the application, glanced at it, then picked up a pen and signed your name in the signature field. The handwriting was steady, without a hint of hesitation. After signing, you handed the form back and turned to leave, without arguing a single word, because in your survival rules, never argue with someone who is as good as dead. As soon as you stepped out of the school gate, the sky completely darkened. Lightning tore through the clouds and the torrential rain poured down, quickly drenching you. Yet you seemed not to feel the cold, just numbly walking forward. At this moment, the second-hand phone in your pocket, with a screen cracked like a spiderweb, suddenly vibrated. After you answered, a cold notification from the hospital came through the line.
This is the First City Hospital. Your sister Linxia's abyssal cold syndrome has suddenly worsened and she has been sent to the intensive care unit. Within 24 hours, you must pay 100,000 star coins for the special medication Tuanyan number 1. If you can't pay, we will have to stop treatment according to regulations and discharge the patient from the ICU.
100,000 star coins. This number hits your brain like a heavy hammer. For the wealthy, it's just a number. But for you, it's an astronomical figure you can't possibly reach. You urgently speak. Doctor, please give me a few more days. I will definitely... The call is abruptly disconnected, leaving only the cold, busy tone. You stand in the pouring rain, slowly clenching your 5 fingers, turning the rain-soaked withdrawal application into mush, with the last bit of gloom on your face disappearing, leaving only determination and madness. The school is gone, the future is gone, and there is no possibility through legal means. This world and its rules never intended to give you and Linxia a way out, so you can only seize it yourself. So you suddenly turned around and headed towards the slum on the edge of the city, forgotten by light and order. The further you went, the darker the road became. Finally, you turned into the deepest, dirtiest alley without even a streetlight, and at that moment, your gaze completely changed. Then use your life to seize it. However, just as you finished speaking, a stench so strong it made you nauseous, mixed with a wild animal smell, rushed from the depths of the alley. Immediately, 2 scarlet lanterns quietly lit up in the darkness. Those weren't lanterns, they were eyes, belonging to a second-tier exotic beast, a shadow wolf, which should have been outside the city walls. This type of beast is known for its speed and claws, a nightmare for new recruits. For an ordinary person facing it head-on, let alone winning, surviving for 3 seconds would be a miracle. But just as the thought of escaping popped into your mind, you extinguished it yourself. Leaving your back to a wolf will only lead to a quicker defeat, so instead of retreating, you advance, taking half a step forward, lowering your center of gravity, and swiftly grabbing a rusty, sharp piece of scrap rebar from the ground with your right hand, holding it across your chest. This is the instinct you honed in the slum's underground fighting rings, trading pain and bones. Facing a stronger enemy, the more you fear losing, the faster you lose. Only by adopting a more ruthless and reckless stance can you possibly seize a slim chance of survival. One person and one wolf face off in the muddy dark alley. The next second, the shadow wolf moves, lunging like a black blur straight for your throat. You can barely see its movements, relying only on the instinct honed through countless life and death battles, twisting your body to the right at the last moment. Rip. You avoided the throat, but your left shoulder and arm was still slashed hard by the wolf's claws, tearing off a large piece of flesh on the spot. Scarlet liquid spurted out instantly, and the intense pain made your vision go dark, but you did not retreat. On the contrary, the pain seemed to ignite a fierceness deep within you. You shouted loudly, using the momentum of your twisting body to fiercely stab the rebar towards its eye. This strike was fast enough, fierce enough, but you ultimately underestimated the terror of a second-tier beast. The shadow wolf forcibly turned its head in midair, and the steel bar failed to pierce its eyeball, only hitting its hard skull and getting stuck less than half an inch in. The shadow wolf, in pain and fury, jerked its head, causing you to lose your grip on the steel bar and fall to the ground. What followed was a true savage fight. You and it rolled together in the sewage and mud. It repeatedly tore your flesh with its claws, while you, like a completely crazed beast, abandoned most of your defense, using fists, elbows, knees, and even teeth to attack any potentially fatal spot. 3 deep wounds exposing bone were clawed into your back, the shoulder wound kept bleeding, and your strength and consciousness were rapidly fading. The more you fight, the slower you become, and your breathing becomes more erratic. Finally, the shadow wolf seizes the opportunity and slams you against the wall. Your head jolts, and stars dance before your eyes. The next second, the heavy wolf body presses down on you, its sharp claws pinning your shoulders, trapping you in the corner. You can't move. It lowers its head, its foul-smelling wolf mouth less than 5 centimeters from your throat, the marks on its fangs clearly visible. Despair crawled over your body like ice, but just at this moment, Lin Cha's pale yet always smiling little face flashed in your mind. Brother, you will definitely become the most powerful ability user. Brother, when I get better, I want to eat candied hawthorn from that shop in the south of the city. You can't lose. If you lose, what about Lin Chia? What about the 100,000 star coins? What about the words, stop treatment, in the hospital? Just as the shadow wolf opened its mouth to crush your skull, your chaotic, near-death brain instead fell into an unprecedented calm. Pain, fear, and unwillingness seemed to be completely extracted by something, leaving only 2 things in your world, the approaching wolf head, and that ability everyone mocked as useless, the storage space. What is space? It is an invisible, intangible, yet real box. Since it is a box, it must have edges, and these edges appear and disappear when opened and closed. A wildly insane thought suddenly splits your consciousness. What if an object happens to be stuck on this edge? Your gaze is fixed on the spot where the shadow wolf's head connects to its neck. The next second, you pour all your mental strength, all your will, even all your life force, into an unprecedentedly clear thought. The lower part of the space covers the wolf's head, the upper part of the space falls on the air above the wolf's neck, the edge of the space precisely caught at the junction of the wolf's head and neck. Close. The storage space closed instantly, and the weight pressing on you suddenly lightened. Immediately, a hot sticky liquid sprayed all over your head and face like a burst dam. Leaning against the wall, you gasped violently like a broken bellows. Looking down, your pupils contracted sharply. The body of the shadow wolf was still pressing against your leg, but its head was gone. The cut on the neck was terrifyingly smooth, as if it had been neatly sliced by the sharpest laser. The fur, blood vessels, bones, and nerves were all perfectly aligned, without a trace of roughness. You instinctively closed your eyes and immersed your consciousness into your ability space. The next moment, your whole body trembles, as that ferocious wolf head quietly floats in the center of the 1 cubic meter space, its eyes still retaining the ferocity and shock from the moment of death, with a cut equally smooth as a mirror. You finally understand that the truly terrifying aspect of your ability was never the storage, but the edge of the space itself. As long as something is caught on that edge, whether it's flesh, bone, or steel, it will be directly severed by the rules of space. This is not an ordinary attack. It doesn't consider physics, defense, or even the difference in strength, but is an absolute cut on the level of rules. Is the skull of a second-tier beast hard enough? Just the same, it would be split in 2. After that, any flame ability, hardening ability, or diamond body, as long as they can't withstand the space rules, are meaningless. The seemingly useless ability, in the eyes of the world, finally reveals its true fangs at this moment. You look at the wolf head in the space, your mouth slowly curling up, and finally, unable to suppress the wild joy of carving a path out of a desperate situation, you let out a low and mad laugh. Hey hey, ha 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 ha. Laughter echoed in the rainy alley, carrying the madness of surviving a disaster, and the calmness after seeing the true face of fate. But you quickly forced yourself to calm down, because the most important thing now is not happiness, but money. Enduring the tearing pain throughout your body, you used that cheap folding knife, relying on the basic knowledge you learned from helping people process exotic beast materials in the black market, to cut open the shadow wolf's chest. Soon you dug out a fist-sized crystal with a flowing dark blue glow next to its heart, a second-tier exotic beast crystal core, and quite a complete shadow type core at that. Such an item requires a license to trade through official channels, but on the underground black market, it's the hardest currency. Conservatively estimated, this crystal core is worth at least 300,000 star coins. 300,000. Not only enough for your sister's medical expenses, but also leaving a substantial amount left over. You put the crystal core into the storage space and quickly cleaned up the scene. You dragged the wolf's remains to an inconspicuous spot at the alley entrance, scattered a few pieces of meat around to make it look like it was eaten by other beasts or hastily dealt with after a gang fight. Then you took off the stained school uniform and threw it directly into the sewage trash bin. The school uniform represented the past identity of an obedient, easily manipulated student. From now on, that identity is over. You rummage through the trash and find a large black hooded coat, then use the last few coins in your pocket to buy the cheapest white plastic mask from a roadside stall. The mask has a strange, unchanging smile painted on it. With the hood up and the mask on, a completely new figure appears in the mirror. From now on, there is no longer the student Linon in this world, only a hunter roaming the night and shadows. You gave yourself a new code name, 0. 0, representing having nothing, also signifies the beginning of everything. Half an hour later, you arrive at the largest underground trading center in Jiangcheng, the Black Gold Market. Its entrance is hidden deep in an abandoned underground parking lot.